Thanks everybody for joining us. Let's see, a couple of housekeeping notes here before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, not in the chat panel. And a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website and YouTube channel within a few days. And you'll be getting a link with all that information. So today we're going to talk about digital twins, very hot topic in the industry, and specifically around the future of facility maintenance and operations. How does facilities operations and maintenance use digital twins? How are they combined? How do we leverage the two of them together? And today you have myself, George Broadbent. I head up the asset management group for Microdesk Asset Management Services. About 25 plus years of experience in the industry, engineering background, information management, and then moved into asset management. Really deploying enterprise systems for most of my career. And then we're joined by Dr. Jeff Chen as well. Jeff, if you want to introduce yourself.
Oh, sure. Hi, this is Jeff. I'm the head of the asset management services. I'm focusing on the lifecycle BIM implementation and also how to integrate all the state-of-the-art technologies, including the AIs, machine learning, deep learning, and the IoT, natural language programming, into this workflow. Try to streamline the data management from design, construction, all the way to operation and maintenance. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Jeff. So our agenda today is we'll give a quick little intro as to Microdesk and our background. We're going to go into digital twins and how they're defined, what it takes to actually build a digital twin, digital twins, and then in facility operations, really kind of the meat of it. And then we're going to look at Watson AI systems and how we integrate the two of them together, because from our perspective, the two of them are really meshed together. So just really kind of quick level here. Microdesk, we were founded back in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission to assist architecture, engineering, construction owners, GIS firms with improving workflow and integrating project delivery technologies. 25 plus years in business now going into 26 years, mission still holds true. Microdesk is a well-established AECO management consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and the UK. Over 230 AECO consultants, solution specialists, software developers. We can help you with all sectors, all aspects in construction and operations at every stage of your project. And some of the core tenets of Microdesk is really revolving around globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. So urbanization suggests that the US will build 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help you make sure you're prepared to meet these demands. We use software from industry leaders and combine it with our vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team of industry experts and consultants are redefining project delivery and asset management. So between globalization, urbanization, sustainability, it really impacts all aspects of design, construction, and operations. So we're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM, which is a universal term across all three of these areas, to quickly and economically facilitate the use of innovative technologies and processes, whether it's streamlining your design, construction, or streamlining the handoff between construction and operations, or operations itself. Our consulting firm team is the nation's largest and most experienced group of AECO technology consulting professionals. We can help you to meet any need that you have. And to that end, we've teamed up with many of the kind of the who's of industry leaders between Autodesk, IBM, Esri, Eagle Point, Enscape, Bluebeam, all of these companies really bring enterprise benefits to your organization. They are the leading edge. They are the best of breed software platforms out there to meet your needs. So, digital twins and how they're defined. If you ask 10 people, or we have what 35 people on the call here, you'll get probably 70 different definitions of what a digital twin is. So from our perspective, we've gone through this with many owners, institutions. We've looked at the various definitions and how do we define what a digital twin is. And very simple. It's a virtual model that incorporates ongoing operational data. The digital twin includes the geometry, the current equipment conditions, and operational data from near or real-time monitoring. So it's your asset information model, it's your integrated data, it's your dashboards, all coming together in this integrated model that is the digital twin. So very simple definition, but I think as you'll see in this presentation, as we start to unpack that, there's a lot of moving parts to it, a lot of different components that have to come together for it. And the biggest challenge with digital twins is bridging this gap between delivery and operations. That gap consists of data interoperability, data integrity, and data accuracy. So it is really about, what does that data model look like? How do we transform the data model from delivery to operation? Now, the delivery can be, a full-blown new construction, a renovation, from small to large-scale renovation work. So how does that data come across? And then from our perspective, what we do is we look at this as a model-centric approach. So you have your physical space, you have your virtual space, and the two components there have an exchange of data and information between the two of them. And then between the virtual space and the future state, you do things like artificial intelligence. And so you want to do predictive and prescriptive analytics to tell you what is going to happen in the future. So the virtual space understands your real-time or near real-time monitoring of systems. It understands the condition of your systems, and really it starts to, with the AI infused inside of it, you can start to build a model of what is going to happen in the future. And this is it's a very tried and true approach now. I guess 4 years ago, when people started talking about predictive analytics, it was very cutting edge, bleeding edge almost. Now the state of the industry has advanced such that we really understand the data model that you need, and we can put this in place pretty efficiently and effectively. And so we always like to say here, the highlighted note here is that the end of construction is not the end, but a new beginning. And from our perspective, again, when we look at what are the different components that make up a digital twin? Okay, so we have a great definition of it. We have an understanding of what it is. What do we have to put into this recipe to create the digital twin? So again, we have our IoT sensors. We have our Cmms Platform, computerized maintenance management system. We have our asset information model, the virtual model. We take real estate data, means the facility space, lease information, and we combine that with data science. You put all those pieces together, and then we apply a set of use cases to it. And Jeff's going to go into more detail about all of these in a few minutes, but you apply the use cases to it, and you're able to create then a digital twin that encompasses all aspects of asset and facility operations. And so, people ask, am I ready for it? Where am I at? Am I at the right stage for it? So there's a maturity model that's out there, which is, stage 0 is kind of your traditional. You get specs and plans, you get PDF documents, and it gets handed over at the end of construction. And but then you can advance into stage 1, the digital artifact. So now I have something that has a little bit more intelligence to it. I have manually collected data, and I'm able to piece it together. Stage 2 now becomes your digital record, meaning I have a record of what the facility looks like at the end of my construction and or renovation, and it is in a digitally readable format. And then we get into stage 3, digital automation. So now I'm starting to put sensors in. I'm starting to read that data into the system. And then, digital learning at stage 4 becomes, now we're getting into the learning phase. You'll start to see things about like machine learning models and how does that apply. And then we go into digital autonomy, which is really now the predictive analytics and really understanding, where the facility is going and what needs to be done to the facility. So it's an upward trend line for all of these. Facilities are continuing to improve and progress along these various stages. Now, for me, this slide talks about the why. So we've talked a lot about what it is. What is a digital twin? But why? And this is the why for me. This is what really drives the growth of digital twins. Sum it up, we have in the United States, we have a workforce that is starting to age out and retire. Over the next 5, maybe 10 years, pushing it, there's going to be a large portion of the US population that moves into retirement. That means that from a facilities operations perspective, those people are exiting the workforce. However, the generation that's taking their place from a population perspective is a smaller group of people. And then when you subdivide that into those that are going into trades versus going on to university careers, there's an even smaller percentage of people going into the trades. So not only do you have a smaller population taking their place, but you have a smaller subset of that population that's actually going to be moving into the facility operation space. So it really defines the having to do more with less. How do we supplement, and the tribal knowledge of the workforce? And that's, from our perspective, AI comes into play. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, decision support systems, these components are going to play a huge role in how facilities operate in the future. So now we're going to talk about, building a digital twin. And I'm going to hand it off to Jeff so we can talk about how we build a digital twin. And with that, Jeff, it's all you.
Thank you, George.
Control the slides. I'm not sure. If not, I'll advance it for you.
Okay, let me try. Yeah, so it seems I cannot click actually. So you might need to control it for me, George.
Sure, and just raise your hand when you want the next slide.
Please, go ahead. Yeah, so thank you, everybody. So as George mentioned, there are 1,000 digital twins and 1,000 people's eyes. And from our Microdesk perspective, we try to make the digital twin very flexible, very adaptive, comprehensive, and the most important thing is need to be extendable for future or upcoming technologies. And I'm going to talk about these 5 different modules or different sections George mentioned before, from the one everybody is here might be the most familiar with. George, please. Oh, so yeah, so that's going to be the virtual model. So here is basically a workflow from the before the conceptual design, before the project initiated, all the way to you have the as-built model and you prepare the facility model, as-built model into a facility information model. So there is nothing special about it because virtual model is a very important part of the digital twin, but it is not all about it. You can tell we have other 4 sections, But here I just want to show you the workflow, and also I want to give you an impression that the whole workflow is supposed to be streamlined from the owner's intent, from the contractual languages into the model, into the construction model, into the as-built model, facility information model, and that require a very consistent data flow to maintain the data accuracy, sufficiency, and the interoperability. So that's part of the things we call that the master data management, but I'm not going to talk detail about that. So so George, you can go to the IoT sensor part. So the IoT sensor is a very interesting part in the digital twin. So like someone looked this IoT sensor part very high, but someone don't actually think that's part of the. But from Microdesk's perspective, that is a very important component of our digital twin platform. So we have 4 stages if you want to integrate the IoT sensors. From the sensors perspective, you need to install all different kinds of sensors from different vendor, different manufacturers, the security, lightning, HVAC, FPLs, the monitoring and energy metering or the controllers. And all of the sensors will give you different type of data with different unit, with different frequent, different schedules. And here we need to have a data gateway to absorb all the data and make them standardized, and add on some like a threshold or the KPIs for specific type of data, and ship it to the IBM Maximo or something equivalent. Then it can show from the front end what is your what is like the current condition of different perspective from your building. So here we have a very quick example about one product we are developing called Echomap. So George, if you can click that tiny green button on the screen. Yeah, so what a Echomap, we build up this Echomap based on, we find out there are so many certifications or the standards on the market. We have the Energy Star, we have the LEED, we have the WELS, we have the Green Stars, and in some Asian part we have the 3 stars. So all of those certifications and codings and the standards, they have different but something in common, talking about how you want to set up your sustainable goals in terms of the water efficiencies, the energy efficiencies, the material reuse, the indoor air qualities, those kind of things. So here we don't want to do any greenwash or do any branding wash things for in favor of any of the certificate to do anything like certification tracking. Here we just want to grab the best part of each standard and combine with our client experiences and past good practices to come up with a database. So from the database, we can help you to set up the threshold you want to get alerted, or you want to show some KPIs on your dashboard. So here is a quick example. We have the space area for a certain area or a certain space or room, and the energy meters will give you a readings. So combine these two, you're going to have a kBTUs per square feet, and on these things will compare with our Echomap and try to see if that is above or mid or below some certain benchmark. So here is the Energy Star benchmark. From the other side, we have the CO sensors, and at that give you CO density, and that things is going to compare with the ASHRAE 32.1. So you can tell it's not only from one standard, it's from multiple. We're trying to give you the true meaning of why we want to have a sustainable, or we want to have a more green, or say that is more environmental friendly environment from the building perspective. All right, George, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So the third section is called Cmms Platform. This is a very very important part, and it's actually a big effort. So we need to do this thing systematically. So a lot of our clients, they think about, okay, so here is the SB model, and can you help us to do the asset management synchronization from the SB model into the facility and asset management? So the answer is very simple, yes, but the right way to do this is very fundamental, and need to be really, really, really practical from the bottom. So here we're starting everything from identify assets. So you can tell not everything inside of your model or not everything inside of your facility are going to be considered as an asset. For example, if you have a very expensive flat TVs in your lobby, then that costs thousands of hundreds of dollars. But sometimes you don't want to consider that an asset because you just wait until it kind of something happened and you call a guy to fix it or you replace it. But on the other side, you have a very inexpensive valve or pump, but it serves a very important function in your fire protection system. So that things you need to put your PM on it, and that is actually an asset. So we need to help our client to have a practical way to do asset identification. Then once we finish what is an asset, what's not an asset, we are going to, as we previously mentioned, do the integration of your building management system or building automation system. So each sensors or controllers or meters is going to be assigned to a asset or a space. Then that things, all of this integration is going to be showed up and also integrated with the 3D models using either the GUID or the asset, the number. So when you're from your front end, you can actually see what is the readings looks like. Then you click that, it can take you to the specific corresponding asset and show you where is that things on a 3D floor view, show you surroundings. If something happened, you know what kind of tools, what kind of manuals you can gather around. And also that things will benefit the PMs and the work orders. From there, you can directly see what is the corresponding asset, their view, and also related the sensor list. George, go to the next slide. Okay, so this is an interesting place that most of our client actually, or most of the company, they ignore. They don't want to consider this as part of the digital twin, but actually this is a highly demanded area. So in order to achieve this, still 4 stages. First, you need to define a very clear goal why you want to do the real estate digital twin implementation. You want to do the space management, you want to attract more clients, you want to streamline your sale, your lease, your rent processes, you want to do a marketing or like a visualization, data visualization, big screen dashboard or other things, because the requirements or the need in this area is so diverse. You need to have a very defined goals. Then you need to start your data collection. If you want to do space management, you need to have all the spacing information, the square feet, the name, the arrangement, the price. The same thing applies to the leasing data, to the space usage. Then it's about integration. What kind of dashboard you want to set up, what kind of connection between your backend database and your front end platform you want to do, how you want to link your model and your database, because now the database is not only coming from the Revit model, it's coming from your own database, it's coming from even spreadsheets. So you need to work with a client together. So how to find the integration to make everything assembled together, and eventually the dashboard or big screen is going to showcase everything in terms of the data visualization, data reportings, KPIs, thresholds, notifications. And we have a small example here, Josh, if you want to click that button. Okay, so George. Oh, actually, George, can you go back one slide? Yes, here. So seems like the Oh, I'm sorry, go to the next slide and go to the next slide. Okay, so things like the example there is not the working. George, you can go back to the data science section. I can quickly go through that. Okay, so this, in my opinion, this is the most important section in the journey of digital twin. So usually we do data engineering and we do data analytics, but now due to the AI is trending, machine learning, deep learning has been used by all the other neighbor industries. So we are actually integrate that things into our industry, AECO industry, and start to benefit our workflow. So data engineering, basically that data preparation, data collections, your historical data, your on-site collected data. Then data analytics here is more about your usual, how to set up the KPIs, how to do some data experiments, how to do some sensitivity analysis. Then the things that start to shine is the machine learning and machine learning engineering part. So there is a lot of terminologies here. I don't want to just to talk detail about what is the future engineering, what is the optimization. I just want to show you the example. I think that can tell the whole story, George, if you want to click that button. Okay, so long story short, this is a very normal case. For example, you have an asset, and the asset, you have the full historical record of that asset. If that is online, that is downline, that's offline, something is wrong. And with that history, you also have some properties or the attributes of that asset. So for example, if you're facing a pump, you are going to see probably, just for example, the water quality, that's one. The usage scenario, that is the public facing pump, or that is the that is not a public-facing asset. What is the water qualities? How many population it serves? Blah blah. So this kind of attributes, and eventually you're going to have if something is wrong with that pump. So for example, you have the thousands of this kind of historical record for that asset or for that type of asset. Then the first thing is you need to make the raw historical data clean to define what is the features. So from the machine learning perspective, all the features will help to predict the condition of that asset. So in this example, that's a pump, the water quality, those kind of things. Then you need to use these things, all the historical data, to train your digital twin, your digital brain, your digital model. And if you have the new data, we call that the real-time sensor data coming, it feels, oh, okay, so you have these features. Now the water quality is bad, and you put it into a public-facing usage scenario. So probably right now the pump, you need to put a PM on it in the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, something is going to happen on that asset, and the probability is probably 90%. So we are training the digital twin, the digital model, to learn all of your historical data and do some predictive maintenance or some decision-making suggestions. George, you can go to the next slide. And in order to find a way to showcase all of the previous contents we described in the 5 sections, we actually developed we call that the 333 rule. So different people on different level has different demands on the data. So for example, in 30 seconds, for a director of the facility or the facility manager to have a quick look at the facility dashboard, big screen, and to have a big picture about, okay, so my building is basically good, okay, and all my energy consumption is low, my security is good, my leasing condition is good, then that's enough. That's all they want to know. But for a facility manager need to do some work distribution, he may need probably 3 minutes to review the notifications, or okay, something wrong is here. I get the 2 notifications on the energy consumption. Why is that? Then he have a big picture about the current condition in a more granular level of the building. Then for the facility operators, 30 minutes, and do a deep dive into the specific issues as being sent by his boss and say, okay, so now this is a service request. I need to do this. I need to do that. So we try to showcase all the gathered and analyze the data in a more customized way to different level of people or different stakeholders, depends on what they need. George, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, then for the whole digital twin architectures, from very high levels, we have all those all the 4 modules, and since the data science is going to be cover the entire workflow from the beginning all the way to the end, so we don't put it here, and all the things has been all the data being collected, 4 modules run it, and goes into the cloud, pack for data, and do some data massage, goes into IBM monitors to create KPIs, and eventually integrated with your selected front-end rendering technologies, either Forge or Unreal or Unity engine. Then from a user's perspective, I'm not going to worry about every technical things on the right, on the left side. I'm only going to talk about, okay, so here is my platform, here is my digital twin, and all the KPIs and the data reporting here. I can start to use it. Okay, George, go to the next slide. And this is basically what we are doing right now for our clients. We have 3D models, as we mentioned before, using Forge. Then we can connect it with the different use cases, the BIM protocols, execution plans can fit these things into Maximal. So we have asynchronized bi-directional connections in between Revit model and your Maximal asset, the records. You can have the 2D drawings from the models, and we also have a cloud-based lightweight model viewer. You can just check your asset status or check do the 3D navigations on your iPad, on your iPhone, or laptop. You can take it on site. So George, I think I can give the mic to you for the digital twin and facility operations.
That's great, Jeff. Thank you so much. So now let's look at digital twins and how they're used in facility operations. The idea is that we want to go from what we call from the big to the small. Now we really want to be able to look at the different personas that are going to be accessing the information and the technology platform that they're going to be using to access the data. And so the technology is at a state now where we can give everybody a unified experience going from the big to the small. So on the left-hand side, we look at things like GeoBIM, GIS, Autodesk Tandem, Autodesk Forge, 2 different companies, 2 different sets of technologies now all blended together to form a unified and seamless experience. And what is this used for? Capital planning, asset investment planning, regular facility operations planning, just being able to understand what's going on within the facility itself. And so when we look at the technologies, they're just kind of some examples here of, the GeoBIM, the next, which is the next big wave of technology to take over facility operations. Taking your 3D environment and bringing it into the GIS environment, being able to look at outside the facility as well as inside the facility, looking at where my utilities come into the facility, looking at mapping the utilities out into the streets. I mean, really giving facility planners a holistic view of everything they need to do. Standard GIS, again, are layers or data or public data sources coming together. Tandem has great potential as it's coming out of its beta to provide us with really detailed, rich information about the facility itself. And then Forge that viewing platform there is really going to let us zoom in on the details of the individual components and elements. Look at it. What is it connected to? How is it connected to? And hand that off to the technician level itself. And so, again, we look at facility operations, being able to look at anomalies, alerts, using AI. How are my assets performing? What's my health of my assets across all of these systems? Predictive failure, saying, okay, the system is telling me that in the next 30 days, these components are going to fail. So let's not be reactive and have an emergency situation to go in and replace these things. We'll schedule these things during normal hours, schedule it out so that the equipment gets replaced. There's no downtime, no surprises. Everything moves along very efficiently and cleanly. Now, from a sustainability perspective, this is really powerful because as equipment degrades and fails, the energy usage of that equipment goes up. So we want to be sure that, if we know that something's going to fail in the next 60 days, it's going to start using more and more power over the next 60 days. So let's replace it now and then, gain all the energy efficiencies. And then from the technician's perspective, just being able to do visual inspections, marking things up, taking photos, interacting with the equipment is really, really powerful. So, the technician is really where all of this data and information really starts to come together. When you start to embed AI in this kind of closed loop model of between facility operations and equipment replacement and maintenance, we're really talking about digital transformation of the workforce. But really what we're trying to do is empower the technicians with data. Whether it be, hey, I need help replacing this piece of equipment, so calls for remote assistance. I am looking at these problems. What could be the remedies for these things here? I want to see the asset operating history. I want to get alerts, and I want to look at the digital twin information. And this is really where the digital twin comes into play for the technician. Imagine now being able to see, and this is real. So I can look at a piece of equipment. I have a work order for this piece of equipment, and I can say now, show me the work history for this. What was done to it? Who worked on it? Because I need to know what kind of problems they ran into with the equipment in the past. Empowering the technician with more data and giving them that visual cue as to what they need. And some examples, we always like to kind of show, real world, what's happening out there. Going back to the stages, so Columbia University, Manhattanville, brand new campus on the Upper West Side of New York City. They're really at stage 2. They have a massive effort in front of them for building this new campus, but they're doing it systematically. They're doing it methodically. They are capturing digital records so they can bring the entire campus up to the next level in stage 3. So really what we're talking about from our perspective in enabling this is things like ModelStream, our flagship product for moving data between Revit and Maximo, integration with Maximo, and bringing in using Forge to bring the visualization component for the technicians into this model. And then Penn Medicine down in Philadelphia, what we're looking at here is how does the building management system data come into a platform? How do we use our platform called Arid, our ModelStream platform? How do we bring that into Maximo? How do we bring it into Forge to enable the technicians? And they're really at level 3 because they're doing the SCADA integration with their systems. So SCADA data coming out of your building management systems, your building automation systems, getting fed into an IBM monitor platform. Arid is the data dictionary, just to kind of sum it up very quickly. So it controls all the data that's flowing into the system here. Maximo is the ultimate repository for all the data. And then model stream is used to connect the 3D, the digital twin model information up with Forge. So really kind of a nice package for all this coming together with them. And really, what does this, start to give us? What can we build out from this? Now, I talked about GeoBIM before in GIS. We don't want to exclude that in any way because that is a rich data set that we need to use in facility operations. And so, we're talking about being able to manage resources, building modeling, transportation planning, engineering, public works, public safety, utilities, telecom, crisis management, risk management, cartography, like bringing all these things together into one unified model. And so the way we orchestrate this is we have ArcGIS on one side for the GIS components, and then we use IBM Maximo on the other side. And ARID is the data dictionary, the repository that will control what information is being stored in each one of these systems. And then that connects in with our BIM 360 document management, AutoCAD ERP systems, and we wrap it all together with our asset information planning. Now, there's going to be a next generation of this picture here when GeoBIM goes live, and really like BIM 360 is going to now form the third component within the middle, and BIM 360 is going to feed the GeoBIM data between all these different platforms. It's really exciting news in terms of digital twins and how that's going to come together. And then, what does this start to look like? Again, real world situations here. We have our digital twin, we have our data, we have our real estate information, we have our building automation system, building management system coming into these systems here. We have our predictive models. So in the upper left-hand corner, we talk about like whole building energy consumption data. What does it look like? Where are the hotspots in my building? It's using more data. We look at equipment failure analysis. So this is down to the individual equipment component level. What is going to fail within the next X number of days? Leasing status, again, tying that real estate data into these systems as well. What spaces are available? How much, how much am I using? How much free space do I have? And then whole building failure analysis. Okay, so I have a large campus. What buildings should I send my teams to or concentrate on? It's great to know that I've got 3 pieces of equipment that are failing, but are they all in one building? Are they not? Again, going to that 330, the 3 threes rather, and looking at what do I need to see very quickly. So this in the lower right-hand corner is an example of that 30-second snapshot. Okay, I've got a problem with this building. I need to make sure that crews are going over there and troubleshooting and taking care of the equipment that's over there before it fails. Oops. So with that, I will hand it back to Jeff, and we'll talk about Watson and the AI integration and some exciting stuff that we have coming up.
All right, thank you, George, for letting me do the most exciting part. Yes. So, okay. So Watson AI. Some of you may already heard about the Ask Alex. That's one of the current version of the Watson AI integration we did, but inside of the IBM Maximo. So basically, you need to have your IBM Maximo set up, and you need to have your BIM model linked with your IBM Maximo. Then it goes into the Maximo, goes into the asset, and start to use the Ask Alex. It's pretty amazing, but there's some extra steps by using it. So with the development of understanding into this AI partnership with IBM, and also our partnership with Autodesk, so we're thinking about why we don't just take this chance to move Ask Alex out of IBM Maximo to make a standalone platform. George, can you click? So what we are doing now is Ask Alex is going to become the AI engine that kind of connect with all of your services, with all the IBM related modules, and your Autodesk BIM 360s, your offline models, and your other repositories, including your other CMMS, your BAS, BMS systems, or even your spreadsheet collections. So here, it's still going to connect with IBM Maximo. So now everything has been modularized. Now IBM Maximo can become the CMMS part. Then if something regarding the CMMS, like the work orders or PMs, is going to ask the IBM Maximo, IBM Cloud NLU is for the natural language understanding. It's actually a IBM Cloud. We use that thing to deploy our Ascalix. The Watson Assistant and Watson Knowledge Studio, they're like two AIs, totally different isolated AIs, but somehow we make them work together as the AI layer 1 and AI layer 2. So when they work together, they can try to understand what you're talking about and try to give you the right answer. So here I just want to do a one minute description for that. When you're talking with a person like me, you say, hey Jeff, I want to go to buy a computer. I said, okay, then you want to go buy a computer. But in reality, when you're talking with the computer, with the AI, I say, hey, I want to go buy a computer. The AI needs steps to know what you're talking about. First, he wants to know what's your intent. So, oh, okay, your intent is goes to buy something. So your intent is shopping. And the second is the content understanding. So, oh, you want to shopping for a computer. I said computer, right? Computer. So that is how this AI layer 1 and the AI layer 2, they work together. One is only focusing on to guess your intent, and another one is guess what you really want. I don't want to do deep dive into it, but I'm going to show there's a demo by the end to showcase the entire methodology. George, please click. Okay, so George, just do one click here. Okay, so George mentioned there is a lot of use cases and there's a lot of things integrated together to let us or other users to take the most advantages of the digital twin platform. So naturally, different person from different background doing different job, they're going to have different questions if they are facing an AI in front of them. Just thinking about, you have a 3D model in front of you. You don't know actually how to play around with the models. It's kind of complicated, right? As a facility manager or a facility operator, you don't necessarily need to know how to use that, but you find there is a AI next to it and say, hey, ask me. I can help you to use this model, and I can help you to do all kind of queries, or I can provide you with your next step decision-making assistant. So we send the questionnaire to different people and ask, hey, what kind of questions you're going to ask? Then there's a lot of answers. So for example, somebody said, okay, so I want to do a circuit analysis. George, click one more time. Then somebody said, okay, so I want to draw a system list on the floor 1 to show me all the related systems. Somebody said, I want to calculate the size of the selected room more. And somebody said, I want to see all the pending work orders I may need to deal with, or I want to see all the active work orders. Then, yeah, somebody said, I want to see all the assets their warranty is going to expire in the next 2 weeks. I need to take some pre-action. Somebody said, I want to do some pattern matched search. Then somebody said, I want to do some more advanced search. Somebody said this, somebody said that. So normally, in the traditional way to do the software or the platform development is we're going to place buttons and buttons and buttons and buttons on the dashboard. Each button serves a function, and that's how we have the Revit today. We have other things today, but what is the things that there are unlimited questions is going to be asked by different people. So we are looking for a more elegant and a more effective or more efficient way to help everybody. Yeah. So what else? The question can be unlimited, can be numberless. So that's the beauty of introducing the AI. We call that Ascalix here. George, do one more click. Yeah. So basically, you have a Google-like things. or you have a Siri, because we're enabling our voice to text module right now. So if you just typing, George, if you can do one more click, show me blah blah things, or hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Just treat him like one of your office friend, and he's going to give you, okay, so this is a search result, and you click goes into all the detailed information. So here, so for example, hey, what will happen if I turn off the switch panel? This is very important, and this can be really difficult. Could you generate a list of all cold water system on the first floor? Show me all active work order, please. Just thinking about, if you want to have function buttons to solve these things, it's going to be either very complicated to use, or you're going to take a lot of time to find it, and it's not user friendly. It's not match our modernized flavor of what a good UI UX or a good product supposed to be looks like. And the most important thing is, each time you ask a question, if it gives you the right answer, or if it cannot, it doesn't know what you're talking about, it becomes smarter and smarter, because we have the back-end training things going on. George, do one more click. Yeah, so Ask Alex is powered by Watson AI. So as I mentioned, Watson Assistant, Watson's Knowledge Studio, deployed on the IBM Cloud and NLU. Then so for a facility manager, operators, directors, or any people can find these things useful from their own perspective. More questions here. Show me all asset with a warranty expiration date within 2 weeks. What is the high priority asset on the first floor but has a very low conditions? What is this? What is that? Show me all work orders waiting approval. George, one more click. So before we jump into the quick demo, that's a real demo. I want to show you guys a high-level architecture about it. As I mentioned, the IBM Watson is going to be the backbone of it, and also it will link into to integrate with your Autodesk BIM 360. So directly connect with your BIM models over there, and your BIM model on one side is going to be hosted by your BIM 360, but also going to your CMMS through the GUI mapping. So here, actually, we have the model string to do this kind of jobs through between your Revit model and your IBM Maximo. And other things, the spreadsheets, the IoT sensors, BAS, BMS, all goes into a middleware. So that's something like a data mart to standardize all the data together and feed the IBM Watson. And also we have a separated security layer to handle everybody's security confidentials, and the on the front end, on the front user interface, you're going to have the Ask Alex, the chatbot, and you have the 3D model viewer powered by Forge. So George, one more click, and eventually I'm going to show you a quick demo. So George, you can click play, and I'm going to do some narrative alongside with it. Okay, so here the first question we ask, just a random question. It's a very easy question. Show me all assets made by Eaton. Okay, so now the AI with very minimal training now understand, oh, Eaton probably want me to find something regarding the manufacturer. Then it started thinking, it started to search for the entire building, and it actually lists everything manufactured by Eaton and showcase you on the in the model viewer, and also you have a list. So now if you click on any of this asset, you can just go to their corresponding entities, and you can show their properties using some Forge basic functions. So this is one of the most simple questions, and we're going to ask I think 2 or 3 more questions according to the difficulty. Okay, so okay, see that is a Eaton manufacturer. So, and also we do the fuzzy search. If your naming convention changed a little bit, that's fine. Then the second question I think we asked during that time is, can you show me all, what is that? All supply air system on the first floor. Okay, then here the layer 1 said, okay, so let me think. I think probably you want me to show you something about the system type and give it to the AI layer 2. AI layer 2 said, okay, I saw supply air. Supply air is definitely a system type. So let me examine your model and gather all the supply air system and highlight them on the model viewer. And now you're going to see it here. So the speed is a little bit slow here, but in the production version, it's going to be very fast. And also, I just want to mention there's a no UI UX here. This is basically a proof of concept with the debugging mode for our developers. So just please bear with the lousy UI for now. Okay. A second. Where is it? George, did you stop the video? Oh yeah, you stopped the video, George. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so then the whole supply air system got highlighted. So it's kind of very hard to do just with Forge. I think it's impossible to do with organic Forge, all right? So the last question, I think we ask a very complicated one. George, yeah, you can just let the video play. I can catch up with the speed, so don't worry about it. Yeah, it is not playing right now. I think it's paused. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just let it play. The question is very complicated. We ask, so which circuit panels are going to impact it if I turn off the selected asset? They selected the switch, the selected the switch panel, I think. So, oh, George, it paused again. Yeah, so I said which circuit panel will be impacted if and here I go to the view and I selected the mother switchboard of everything. George, it actually paused again. Yeah. If I turn this off. So, okay, see here, the first AI layer said, oh, okay, the master want to do a circuit analysis. And it called the layer said, okay, so please do your job. And the second layer said, okay, so here's the things I can do for you. You can tell that the mother switchgear we selected now are in pink, and all the downstream circuit panels or the sockets are in high colored in blue. So if you turn that off, everything will be shut down. And yeah, so this is basically some like very fundamental functions we want to show you that how AI things can help you. Really, just all you need is to talk or to typing, and the possibility is unlimited. All right, so now I'm going back, give the mic back to George. That's again, that's a loop.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I know we're a couple minutes over here now. We've been trying to respond to your questions as they've been asked in the Q&A section here. We do have one last question that I wasn't able to answer just yet, which is regarding the where will the digital twin models be hosted? And so, right now our models are in the Forge platform. So it's actually Autodesk platform. They're in Model Stream, which is so we have Model Stream as our core technology that moves data between Revit and Maximo. So in that platform, which also has Ask Alex embedded in with it, you do have the option to store your model either in the Autodesk cloud or behind your firewall locally, so to speak. And so therefore you could theoretically move that to any one of your cloud providers at that point. So Ask Alex, the standalone version that you saw the video on just now, right now it is the option for Forge, but we'll be able to adapt that to downloading it to a local version as well. So I hope that answers that question for you.
Yes. George, I just want to add the one point. So like the Forge is actually working on your OSS Forge account or your BIM 360. So both ways. Okay.
So if there's any other questions, please add them to the chat. We can try and get to them. I know we've still got quite a few people here. If not, I think we can call this one a day. I thank you, everybody, for your time today, and it's really been a great pleasure. Really good questions that have been popping up here. Hope everybody can see the answers to them. If not, you'll get copies of these of the recording, and get a link for it so you can review all the data that's in here. Again, thank you for your time. Do appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a great day.